Hey guys, it's Wednesday evening. We're off to the races again. We have some saving stuff saving. We have some stuff that's doing some weird stuff. And we generally, I think we'll have a night of just tidying things up and getting certain things to work. You know what I'm saying? Although that might not come to fruition because our save game thing might put the dampers on that idea, right? But if we work through it, one problem at a time, guys, one problem at a time. If we work through it, we might just get something working. Or we might get it back to working how we wanted it to work in the first place. Which might sound a bit silly, but it's not a bad goal to have at this particular time. And it's kind of made us forget a little bit about research, which is where we were the other night. When all of this save game stuff happened, right? So I think the order of play for tonight is to get our different things working. Now, what we're not going to do at this point, we have got bauxite, so that's good. Right, so I think the first thing we'll do, right, is we shall create our conveyor belts, right? And that wasn't necessarily the best idea there. We are going to do iron sheet, and we are going to do widgets. Okay, so that's looking good. And that's looking good. And now what we can do is so we have got an issue here because we're not tidying up on that one. We probably, I don't know if this is going to actually work properly. We can try it. Right, so what we'll do is join that on. And it's done it. there we have it, guys. How's about that? Right, that's a bit weird because that other one was there, right? But fundamentally, this is looking good. Gotta say. Right, so this is pretty cool. We've got this now where our, right, let me explain this. We have bauxite coming out of here. This is coming in here and making iron ore. It's coming in here and making iron sheet. You can see it there. Then the iron sheet is coming in here and making widgets. So when you can see the widgets, all very nice. And the widgets are traveling along. And the widgets are going into the warehouse. Okay. So they're going into the warehouse, which is nice. And if we look at our player controller, then we should be able to look at widgets somewhere. Got widgets, 61 widgets, 62 widgets. Right now, oh damn it, I haven't got the button to do the workers now, I don't think. Have I? I don't think I have. I don't think I've got the buttons to do the workers, so I can't increase production. Darn it. Or do I? No, I need 2 new buttons. This is the buttons that does it. Darn it. It was all working so well. Okay, what we'll do is we'll duplicate that. Right, and we'll change the key to a, what we do, L. How does L sound, guys? You reckon? L. L it is. Right, so that actually explains that. We're adding a worker to every single building, right? So what we'll try and do is we'll try and get everything set up. So let's do this, right? So we shall say new game. Now at the end of this, when I've got all set up and running, we're going to try and save it, okay? So let's call this what it should be called. It's called Big Test. Because it's a big test. So the next thing is we're going to recreate all our stuff, which will be cool. right? And we can spin it round, spin it round. Spin that round, and we'll make sure these are all set on the right thing, so that's good. This is set on iron sheet, which is good. This is set on widgets, which is good. And now we've got bauxite. We've only got 2972, okay? So we shall build our beautiful, our glorious when somebody clicks on that, that should disappear immediately. We're going to have to do something about that. But you'll notice how nicely our conveyor belts are actually sorting themselves out, which I'm quite proud of, to be quite honest. There we go. And finally, we don't want to do that. We want to click on that and then click on our building. Oh darn it, I've done it again. Oh well, we can do that, right, and then we can spin this around. Then we can rebuild this. And we can have it all working wonderfully well. Then we can do little pretty patterns in the sand. Then we can find the correct angle of attack, and there we go. So there we go, in a nutshell. Everything is kind of working. And we can see all the stuff there. And now for the interesting part, when we hit L, 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 L. Lots of L's basically. And here we go. We're getting a lot more stuff. It's all working good. We're now getting lots of stuff out of there. So we're getting lots of steel coming out of there, or sorry, not steel but iron plate, right, which in turn is going to give us a nice amount of widgets. So if we now select our controller, somehow Right, so there's our controller, our widget's 64. Right. Got 65. Where does the widget start really chalking it up? Oh, here we go. Look at that. Now, what we actually need to do here is stat FPS. And I'm not sure what the effect is going to be, because my FPS tends to jump up and down all over the place, so it's a bit hard to tell. But these are certainly instance meshes, right? So these should, in reality, be pretty, what do you call it? Be pretty efficient is the word I'm looking for. Right, so we've got 80, 81, 82, etc, etc. Right? And the important thing is here, we want to look at our miner, right? Because our miner ain't gonna last forever. So, where is our miner? Am I gonna have to type in miner here? Yeah, I believe I am. So, our miner well, it's got a bit to go, to be honest. It's got 2,600 to go before it runs out, so I'm going to say I'm not 100% convinced. I mean, to be quite honest, I think this would be okay to run at 30 frames a second, because it's not going to be, it's not a fast action game or anything like that. And if we're putting a lot of stuff on the screen at once, right, I'm not sure if the rendering or not is actually the difference on the speed. So like if I go over here, is it making a difference? And if it isn't, then that's good. Now, my idea for this is that if it's not in the viewport, then we're not going to render these, or at least we're going to make them invisible, right, to the rest of it. So like, for example, if I was here, you wouldn't be able to see all the widgets coming down over here. So I would in fact make them invisible, right? And hopefully that would actually also resolve some, I mean, that's basically LOD stuff plus culling. So there's that. So I think one of the first things we're going to have to do is fix this one to have the red arrows coming out. This one is fine. We're going to have to set it so that the the menu goes away when you start the spline, right? That would make sense as well. Now, here's the big test. So, big test, come in, we hit save, and as you can see, we get all actors of class, we set them all to save by EMS, and then we actually save them, and that's it, done. And for some reason there, my frame rate jumped up a bit there. Don't ask me why, no idea. Closing Discord seems to give me a few. Right, so let's test this. I think this is going to not work. But we'll see what level it's not going to work at, okay? So, if we hit continue, we have our spliners. Right? We have nothing going into anywhere, nothing coming out anywhere. So whatever it is with the miner, it's not set up properly. We can check what it is. This is a problem I was having earlier that I was trying to resolve, but it didn't seem to want to resolve. Right? So it's going to set this, and then it's going to go to process. And always, when I come back to here, right, this S output is nothing. And it's still nothing. Okay? So, we have our bauxite, right? So that's all good. So what we need to do here is basically this, right? So the other issue is the fact that we don't have, oh, we don't want to do that. Right, so we're going to duplicate that, right? And then it's basically going to go here. Right, so we're going to need to put that there and put that there. Okay, so that should immediately give us our iron, our bauxite coming out again, right? So we know that it was giving us the recipe back, it just wasn't reloading it. So if we do this, we continue, right, that's its first process. And it doesn't seem to be doing it. Comp output. We have bauxite in 1. Okay. So we resume that. But it's not putting anything onto our spline, right? So the next thing is to stop this from doing that and annoying the crap out of us, right? So if we go to comp output, when it goes to begin play, It goes to delay, resets that, and then sets the output from storage, right? We don't refresh output. What we do is we check this. Right. So do we have a spliner? Yes, we do. Is the spline complete? Don't know. So we'll step over, and that goes to valid. We check this. Now, is the spline complete? If we step over, no. The spline is not complete. So, what we can do is we have to go to the spliner now, and I think this might have, I think I set up the spliner before I knew how to set up the objects with easy multisave. Shout out again to easy multisave, this seems to be quite good. I don't know the guy that made it, it's Michael something or another. I'll get your name for the next time, right? I'll give you a shout out because I quite like this. So, we need to get the spliner, which is the conveyor belt, right? But it's a spline, so that's why it's called a spliner. Or at least I call it a spliner. So, what we need to do is we need to set some of these up. Like, the spline complete. Yep, we're not saving the data on that. So we need to set that. And I'm guessing we probably need to set that one as well. And we probably don't need to set that. I mean, the finish, we do the final spline points, right? And the final spline points gives us the actual final spline. We do need the end actor, right? So we need that. Division amount, we don't need that. Possibly the controller. We'd probably get that on BeginPlay anyway. Except we don't. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do anyway. Right, and then this is basically checking the save to find out if we actually have it loaded yet. And if we have, then we draw the final spline. Okay? So, I don't know if this is going to work or not. It's probably not going to work. Right, we don't want that for now. We're going to resume. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to save again. Resume. Then we're going to stop it. We're going to play. And we're going to continue. Right? And now we need to go back into our output and do this again. We might need to restart this because if it hasn't saved it in the first instance, it might not overwrite it properly. Or at least that's my theory on this, because that seems to have been what's happening. Right, so we've got that. Is the spline complete? Well, we don't know. We've got that. the output spliner, right? And then we've got, is this valid or not? And for some reason it does not like that. Right, anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do a simplified version. So we're just going to create a new game, and we're going to call it Game Boy 1. So we're going to check on this, and we're just going to build 2 buildings, right? We're just going to build our, well, we're getting familiar with the save game thing and what we need to implement and what we don't implement. Then we'll try to keep things simple unless somebody asks to see the game in action, basically. We're going to disable that for now. Okay. So we're doing okay so far. This is going to get spun around. We've got things saving and loading, so that's good. So the next thing we're going to do is, I'm completely forgetting what we're going to do. It is bauxite, so that's good. Right, so we build our conveyor belt, right? So that's all well and good, right? So now what we need to do is we need to save it. So that saves it. Then we stop it. And what we want, what we basically want is for this to basically start up again. And there it is. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Right, now, what we need to do is we need to do that again. Because what I need to check is if it is actually bringing me back the correct number of bauxite that is in the, it should be in the, well, let's have a look, right? Once it's built, we'll take a look. Right, in the meantime, we'll build our, we won't build anything, right? We're waiting to see what we've got. Because we want this to create a lot of stuff, right? And have it ready in the output so that it can basically put a lot of stuff out. Then we can save it, but it'll still have a lot of stuff ready to go out. So let's say we let it save up 20, right? We want to make sure that when we come back in, we've still got 20, right? Or at least that's the idea, right? So we're gonna, well, we'll blow it. Right, so it is bauxite, which is fine. We do need to click on it, and we need to see what we've got in our component output, right? So we've got one thing in our component output, which is correct, because we can only have one thing coming out of the miner. It's bauxite. We've got 13, right? So now we can spin this around, right? But we're going to wait. But what we'll do is we'll hit L a few times. And then this should start going up quicker, and you'll see there it does. Right, we've actually got 23, 24. It's basically doing 1 per second now. So the point being that when we draw this, we can save it quickly. It won't have put all of these bauxite on or the conveyor belt, so that we can then check to see if we've got any left when we load it back in. Which you should have, but we're going to have to find that out, okay? So we want to let it go for a little while here, not too long, but a little while, right? So what we'll do now is we shall build our conveyor. Right? And this will start going down. Actually it won't, it'll stay at 82. You know why? Because there's one coming in per second and there's one going out per second. So if we stop it, well, we've got an error here. Oh, that was earlier. Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So we won't worry too much about that right now. The thing we're going to worry about is how much is in our component output of our... You see, that's not right. It's not right. We don't have the correct number. Right? It's not good. See, it's at 0. It should return back with 82. So, okay, let's not get too flustered over this. Let's go back to our comp output and we'll check this, and that's definitely saved, right? Now, when we come into our miner, and we do the begin play, do we right, so there's no way of saving that. Okay, and the only thing that we've got here is the ore type. Now, earlier, let's just check I have done this properly. We've got EMS save interface, right? So that's okay. Right. So basically what's happening is we're not getting the values back. Which would kind of mean comp output we're waiting 5 seconds. And on the miner, right, see there's a delay here as well. Now, what we're expecting is for this miner to come down here, right? There only is one miner, so if we hit continue, it does hit there. It's got bauxite, but it has no other value. And we don't know if it has actually saved the value or not. So output object BPI, right, okay. So basically this is it here. Right, we're not doing anything there, there's nothing, don't need any of that. The only issue is this thing here, this S output, right, S output, and there's nothing there. With that number. Right now, I'm just wondering if there's anything it does say struct and stuff should save no problem, right? But apparently we do have a problem. If we go back to our miner, right? Let's delay 0.2. We'll put that to there and that to there. Right, we save that, go with that. I've put that too high so I can't get out of the way. Right, let's do that again. Do that, do that. We come to here. And we still have a 0. Okay. Bummer. Not so good. Bit of a problem, in fact. Bit of a major problem. Okay. Well, let's, in the meantime, sort out another couple of issues, right? What we'll do is and I don't think it's here. Yeah, because that's the cancel, right? And that's only the left click. So it's going to be on the menu button. So we need to open that up first. Right? So in our game, in the buildings menu, it's not the buildings tooltip, that's for sure. It's the individual building, and if we click on the individual building, no, that's not it either. Right? It's actually when we click on a building. So it's going to be actually in our miner. This part here. So when you start the spline, basically there's two things we're going to do here to clean things up, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to right, where is it? We're going to unhover, right, which is done in the base building, apparently. Right, so it's this here. So we're going to have to create a custom event. On hover, right? And as long as it's not spline. So when we click on it, right? Let's have a look to see what it actually is. So on our miner, right, when we click on it, it starts spline. So that's okay, right? So that's okay. So then we basically call unhover, right? We do unhover, and then basically we get all widgets of class, and it's going to be the building select, that one, okay? And for each we're going to remove from parent, okay? So basically, as soon as they start a spline, then this basically comes up. It hides the hover, and then what we'll do is we'll save that just now. Doesn't like something there. Alright, okay, whatever. So this is the begin. So that's unhover, and we need to create a custom event called hover. Okay. And so this one's hover, and this one is going to go in here, and then this is unhover, and it's going to go in here. Okay, save that, and then if we go back to our miner, well, actually that's it, right? That's us. We're done. So now, new game, test 2, go. So we can create our probes. Okay. And don't need a building right now. Right, so this is copper ore, which is fine. So all we need to do is create a smelter. And the point here is when we create the smelter, right, and we join it up, what we want is when we start this, yeah, that's what we want, right? And there we go. So if we save this, well, it's not going to make any difference because this is at 0. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is not bother saving that. And the other thing I'm going to do here is in saved games, these are all the saves. So I'm going to Control A, delete, right? Did I actually cancel that? I don't think I did, thank God. Right, anyway, so back to the point. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 2-minute break, is what we're going to do. So, with that in mind, guys, I shall be back in 2.5 minutes. Don't go away, or I'll be very sad. I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, we're back with vengeance, and what we'll do is, I can't remember what I was doing. It was something to do with saves, I believe. Right, so this is the interesting part. We're on a decent frame rate there, right? Now, what we could actually do is we could make our processing more efficient by processing less, right? So say, let's say I process half the time but output double the stuff. I'm just thinking, is that going to make any difference while saving us frame rate? Not that I think it's going to be that much, but it might be worth consideration, let's say, for optimization purposes. And I'm also wondering if it's worth doing these. I mean, I should really not worry about it too much, because the point of this is that these items are going to be redone anyway, to some degree. Right, I blew it again, haven't I? I wanted to really wait until we had some Now the interesting fact is, this is going darn fast. Oh yeah, it's slowing down now. Right, okay. And we still have a decent frame rate. Yeah, we've still got a decent frame rate, right? So let's pump up how many workers we have here. Right. Our frame rate's still okay. Still well okay. Now the interesting thing is that this okay, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll fix up a few things as we go along here, right? So when you click on the miner, it doesn't really tell you, it doesn't update this, right? It tells you how many workers, right? So we need like a current efficiency, and then like the mineral available should change, which it does, but it should automatically change, right? So what we could do is do that. So it's building details, right? So tell you what we'll do in the meantime is we'll save it, we'll resume, then we'll stop, and we were on building details, right, which I believe is up 1. So you'll see it here. And it's looking like we have a current recipe. Now, I'm guessing this might actually be different. It's a universal grid. So it's actually this one here. Right, so if we go to event graph, the miner does something slightly different. Okay, so it's mining details widget. Okay, so we need to find the mining details widget. Right, and as you can see here, we've got horizontal box and that, which is fine. Okay. So we basically need a few more of these horizontal boxes. So we duplicate, then we're going to change this. Well, yeah, so what we'll do is that's fine for the moment. We're going to set these all up. So we'll duplicate it again. Right? And this is going to be current workers. Right? And this one is going to be overall efficiency. And then we're going to have mining available, and we're going to duplicate that. And this one is going to be the total mined. So this is going to be txt total mined, right? This is going to be txt workers. This is going to be txt efficiency, and this one is going to be txt, oh, we don't want to do that, mineral available. Okay, we'll save that, and then that's not going to allow us to do it for now, right? Okay, whatever. So now we go to our graph, right? And we're getting all the mine stuff. And then we're going to do a custom event, right? And it's only going to run every 2 seconds. So what we'll say is update widget will do, right? And then on the end of this, what we'll do is we shall say update, no, we don't say that at all. We say set timer by function name, and it's going to be update widget. Then we'll do it every 2 seconds. We'll have it looping, and that's us for now. And what we need to do is mine per second mineral amount, and that's now going into this one. Right, and we break that, and we get a building. We'll delete that for no, we actually want that, come to think of it. So that's our building, and it's as BP miner. That's why I did that. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a BP miner. And it's going to screw everything up, which is great. It's great when you throw away everything and then do it all again. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set that to this. Now, have I completely screwed this up? It's already a miner. Yeah. In theory, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do these two. So we can just go with that, and we can go with that. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, that's not going to work. building. Right. So that's a BP based building, right? So what we want to do is we bring in the BP based building, but that's because we always bring in a BP based building. It's not necessarily a minor, but in this case it's a minor and we know it's a minor. So what we can do is we can create another variable for the casted version. So we'll say minor, and it's going to be a BP minor, right? And then basically what we do is we set this here, and then we can drag this back a bit and then back into position, and then that goes to there, right? So basically we're getting our values here, okay? We'll straighten that, right? So that's not going to change, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the ones that we haven't already done. Okay, so we've got efficiency, get, got material available, get, total mind, get, and we've got workers over here somewhere. Right? So we're going to drag that off a bit, and we're going to say this is going to be the more complicated one, right? So what we'll do is we'll do the easy ones first. So it's total mind, right? Total mind, and reset text. Okay. And that was in here. Okay, so this is going to go in here. Right? And that's going to go there. And what we actually have to do here is we have to drag off a reroute node. Right? So we can drag off a reroute node. And we can do it again. And then we can kind of do it again here. Okay. Now we're getting this one, so we're basically doing this again. Okay. So we're going to put this in here. So if we put that in there, and then we pull off here. Then this is going to be okay. Right, we're going to have to do that. And then in our BP miner, mineral amount. Okay. Which is this one. Right, so we've already done that one. So that's fine. So we can delete that. And then our efficiency, right? We're going to do the set text thing. Then we're going to do the set text thing again for the last one. Right, so our it's going to be this and this, right? So we can duplicate them. And this is our efficiency. Then we have our workers here, right? So now this is going to come along here, and we'll do a reroute node there. So our total efficiency, right, is going to be that multiplied by that. Okay, but then we need to take the workers into account. So we have to basically pull off this and get worker we have to get the worker component. Now what does get? No, that's not it. War worker component. Get component building worker. Right? So we need to get that. And then we need to get struct worker. Right? Then we need to break this. And then basically our current workers can go in there. Now we are going to have to drag us back a bit. Bear with me guys while I get this sorted out. We'll break it to about there, right? We're going to move this a bit. Then we're going to do something like that. Well, we're actually going to have to do something like that. Then we're going to have to say that divided by that, and then that is going to be multiplied by that. So it's going to be a float times a float. So that is going to go in there, and that is going to go in there. Then we're going to do that. Then we're going to do all of this again in our update widget, but there's one more section we've got to do. So we'll drag this down, right? And the last one is the mineral, this one, mineral amount. Because these are the 4 that change per cycle, but the other ones don't. So that is the reason why we're only doing the 4 here, right? Because the other ones don't actually change. Then what we do is plug that into there. No, we don't. Not like that, we don't. What we do is we get this, and then we plug it into there. Come on, do what you're supposed to do. Then this number goes into here, which might give us a crazy long number. 2 text. What we want is yeah, that'll do. That'll do quite nicely, thank you very much. We'll move it back to where it should be. And we shall drag that off there. Then we shall grab it from there. We shall plug this in there. And that in there. And then, just to be clever about things, we shall move these ones to that side, and we shall move this one back up here, and these can basically go up there, and that keeps things a bit more flowy. Then that can go there and there. And what, actually, you know what we should do here? We should add one more, which is currently in supply, so that we can actually check that. We might do that at some point, right? But for the moment, we're good with that. And what we'll do is we shall check it out. So we can continue. Okay. Okay, so that's good. So if we hit L, right, so it's not updating workers, which is kind of what we expected, but we want current workers 6, overall efficiency 0. Right, so that's kind of weird. Right, so we can close that. Then we can go to our mining details. Okay, and these aren't plugged in, and that's why that's not working. So we can drag that in and put that there. And continue. Resume. And it's given us an overall efficiency of 0 for some unknown reason. Okay, whatever. Let's have a look, shall we? Well, that's because I didn't plug the darn thing in. Right. Oh, that was a bit of a moment. Right, so now this goes in here. And what we should do is check this. Add the breakpoint. Right, we resume that. And click on this. And it's got an overall efficiency of 0, which is magical, obviously. So that's going to be 1 times 1, which is going to give us 1. Then we get so that's 0 for some reason. Right, let's see what it actually says here. Resume. Resume. Current workers 2. Right? So that would suggest that if the maximum workers was 10, that would be 2 divided by 10, which is 0.2. 0.2 times, is that, yeah, it's a float. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? We'll plug this directly into here to see what it gives us. And what we'll do is we'll disable that. Right, so that's giving us 2 plus an overall, well, wait a minute. an overall efficiency of 0. Okay, whatever. Stop that there out. Right, is this... Is this because it's... Let's do that, then multiply it by 10. Or do we? No, we multiply it by 100. Right? And let's see what it gives us now. So that suggests it's nothing. Right? So if we're getting nothing, one of these has to be nothing, which is bizarre. Right, give me a second guys, I should be back in a moment. Okay guys, we're back, and I think I may know what the problem is. If this max workers isn't set up right, then it would bring back a possible 0. So if we look in workers, right, and we look in the worker component, then we get it from here, from DT menu buildings, and the miner says 10. So if the miner says 10, then we should be bringing back 10. So we do our old favourite print string. We'll do maximum workers. Right. Put that on screen for 30. Save that. Bring this down a bit. And we shall check it out now. So we continue that. Click on that. Resume. And it is 10. Right. Okay, so we know that the current workers, we know that the cycle speed is 1. That is 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. Right? Stop that for now. These need to get converted to floats. So what we do is we delete this and we delete that, and we say to float, and we do another one, and that one goes in there, and then now we do our divide. Simple mistakes all the time, cost you time. Right, now I'm pretty confident. So when we do this now, we still get 0. No we don't, we get 20. Right, so we can stop this. Okay, and what we do is we copy this stuff. Well, no. I think all we need to do is copy this. Right. And then instead of that, we delete that, we paste that. And we do that, we do that, then we do that, and then we add a pin, and we multiply by 100, then we do append, and we append percentage on the end. That goes in there, then that goes in there, and we can copy that, then go back to here, drag it up a bit. Okay, then we paste that in, that goes in there, that goes in there. Save that, undo that, and let's have a look, shall we? And there you go, 10%, 20%. Now, that's kind of wrong. If we do an L, you see we're up at 30, now 40. So, if we close that, when we stop it, we've got to do our PB as well. Where is it? So it's per. And we don't do it here. So it's not part of this widget. Okay. It is not that one. It's not the main menu. It's getting late. I'm beginning to struggle with where I am and what I'm doing. Right, it's in here. So it's in our building details, right? And if we go to our designer, we've got our workers here, which is PB workers, but we're not updating it, right? So what I want to see is update worker bar. Okay, so if we go to our event graph, we should say set timer by function name, and we delete that. We can set this to 3 looping, and this is update worker bar. Save that, and now that should be us looking good. And there you go. So if I hit L, these go to 3. There we go. And to make it even better, what we can do is, if we go to update worker bar, then we can drag this down a bit, right? And we can say if that equals that, then we branch. Okay, we don't do that. We branch on that. And if it's true, actually, you know what? We should do if it's greater. Right. So we can delete that. Right. And we'll say if it's greater than or equal to that, then basically we do that. Right. And then off of that we clear timer by function name. Right. And it is basically that. So there we go. Now, did I? It should be that. And that should be that. Okay. So I think on that, guys, what I'm going to do is end it for the night. So if you've enjoyed watching, and I hope you have, check out the description, subscribe, do the Patreon or the buy game or the Discord. You can join the Discord as well. And yeah, I shall see you